Hello everyone, welcome to another true crime video. Today we have an exciting story that takes us from the mountains of the Balkans all the way to South America. This is the story of how the Balkan cartel rose to become Europe's most powerful cocaine supplier. Our main focus is on Slobodan Kostovski, a man whose journey through the underworld shows how Balkan gangsters became major players in the global cocaine trade. Get ready to discover how this secretive group controls the continent and why they're so hard to stop. To understand how the Balkans became a hub for cocaine trafficking, we need to rewind a bit. The breakup of Yugoslavia was a major event in modern European history. The once unified country split into several independent states, each facing its own identity crisis and instability. The wars that followed created chaos, and crime networks thrived in this unstable environment. Once the wars ended, these criminals began seeking new opportunities to expand their operations. Latin America, with its booming drug trade, became the perfect destination. The move to Latin America was a calculated decision. The Balkans had expertise in smuggling, while Latin America had the product, cocaine. By forming alliances with some of the most powerful criminal organizations in Latin America, the Balkan traffickers ensured a steady supply of cocaine. These partnerships were built on mutual trust and shared goals. The Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia played a major role in cocaine production and needed reliable partners to transport their product to Europe. The Balkan traffickers were the perfect fit. Another key ally was the First Command of the Capital, PCC, in Brazil. Known for their control over Brazil's prisons and their ruthlessness, the PCC helped the Balkan traffickers establish a strong presence in Brazil. Together, these groups created a pipeline that transported large amounts of cocaine from South America to Europe. The journey was long and dangerous, but the profits were enormous. The Balkan criminals were known for their adaptability. They were willing to do whatever it took to get the job done, whether it was bribing officials, using violence, or finding new and innovative ways to smuggle drugs. This adaptability was key to their success in the cocaine trade. The Balkans have a long seafaring tradition, dating back centuries. With a long coastline along the Adriatic Sea, many Balkan men worked as sailors on cargo ships. This experience gave them invaluable knowledge of the shipping industry, which they later used to their advantage in the drug trade. They knew the routes, the ports, and the procedures, making it easier for them to find and exploit loopholes. One of their most effective tactics was using small boats to transfer cocaine from larger ships at sea. This allowed them to avoid detection by port authorities. Once the cocaine was safely on board, it was hidden in containers often labeled as legitimate goods. These containers would then be shipped to Europe, where they were unloaded, and the cocaine distributed to various criminal groups for street-level sales. The Balkan cartel's control over the entire supply chain, from production in Latin America to distribution in Europe, was crucial to their success. By controlling every stage of the process, they maximized their profits and minimized their risks. They were not just middlemen, they were the masterminds behind one of the most efficient and profitable drug trafficking networks in the world. Now, let's turn our focus to one of the most notorious figures in this network, Slobodan Kostovski, also known as the General. Kostovski's story is one of reinvention and survival. He started in Europe with a criminal record that included armed robbery and even manslaughter. But when he made his way to Latin America, his criminal career truly took off. Kostovski's move to Latin America was not just about escaping his past, it was about seizing new opportunities. In Brazil, he found the perfect environment to expand his criminal empire. The coastal town of Vila Velha, near the port of Vitória, became his base of operations. This location was ideal, providing easy access to the vast coastline and proximity to the major cocaine-producing countries of Colombia, Bolivia, and Peru. Living with his Brazilian wife and son, Kostovski blended into the local community. But behind the facade of a family man, he was building one of the most powerful drug trafficking networks in the world. He made strong connections with local cartels, ensuring a steady supply of cocaine that he could smuggle to Europe. His knowledge of the shipping industry, combined with his ruthless determination, made him a key player in the global cocaine trade. In 2006, Kostovsky first appeared on the radar of Brazilian police after a tip from German authorities. By then, his criminal activities had evolved from smuggling cigarettes to large-scale drug trafficking. He became known for his use of fake passports, which allowed him to travel frequently and stay one step ahead of the law. His network of contacts, both in the Balkans and in Latin America, allowed him to operate with relative impunity. But Kostovsky was not just a trafficker. He was a businessman. He understood the importance of diversifying his operations. In addition to smuggling cocaine, he was involved in arms trafficking and money laundering. He used his profits to finance new ventures and expand his criminal empire. His reputation as the General was well earned, as he was a leader who commanded both respect and fear. As the Balkan cartel grew, so did their influence. By 2010, Balkan traffickers were using cargo ships like those of the Mediterranean Shipping Company, MSC, to smuggle massive quantities of cocaine into Europe. One of the most significant seizures occurred in 2019 when U.S. authorities intercepted a cargo ship carrying 18 tons of cocaine. The drugs were hidden in shipping containers, carefully concealed among legitimate goods. The street value of cocaine was estimated at over $1 billion, making it one of the largest drug busts in history. This seizure was a wake-up call for law enforcement, revealing the scale and sophistication of the Balkan cartel's operations. But the cartel was not deterred. They continued to use cargo ships to transport cocaine across the Atlantic. 2 Montenegrin sailors were caught with 29 kilograms of cocaine on board the MSC Sandra. The drugs were hidden in their personal belongings, and the sailors had planned to transfer them to another ship at sea. However, law enforcement continued their efforts to dismantle the cartel. Brazilian police raided a warehouse in Espírito Santo, where they found 159 kilograms of cocaine hidden in stone blocks ready to be shipped to Eastern Europe. Kostovsky and his associate Branislav Panevsky were arrested and sentenced to 20 years in prison. But even in jail, Kostovsky's influence didn't fade. He used his network of contacts to continue smuggling cocaine, coordinating shipments from his prison cell. After spending nearly 8 years in a Brazilian prison, Kostovsky pulled off a daring escape. Using a fake passport, he fled back to Europe, where he wasted no time getting back into the drug trade. Kostovsky's return to Europe marked a new chapter in his criminal career. Despite his age, he showed no signs of slowing down. European police had been monitoring encrypted communication platforms like EncroChat and SkyECC, which were widely used by criminals to coordinate illegal activities. These platforms allowed Kostovsky to communicate with his associates without fear of being intercepted by the authorities. For over a year, police tracked Kostovsky as he traveled across Europe, meeting with other high-ranking members of the cartel. He was involved in planning and executing several major drug shipments, using the same tactics that had made him so successful in the past. One of his most audacious schemes involved using small vessels to transport cocaine from Brazil to Europe, bypassing traditional ports and avoiding detection. In 2021, the Belgrade police gained access to encrypted conversations between Kostovsky and his associates. These conversations revealed the full extent of his operations, including plans to smuggle 2.7 metric tons of cocaine aboard the ship Oceania Dos. The police intercepted the ship, seizing the cocaine and dealing a major blow to the cartel. Kostovsky was arrested once again, this time in Europe. You might think that with Kostovsky behind bars, the Balkan cartel's influence would diminish. But that's far from the truth. The cartel continues to supply Europe with cocaine, using ever-evolving tactics to outmaneuver law enforcement. As long as there's demand, these traffickers will find a way to meet it. The arrest of Slobodan Kostovsky was a significant victory for law enforcement, but it did not spell the end of the Balkan cartel. The cartel remains one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the world, with a network that spans continents. Their ability to adapt and evolve has allowed them to stay one step ahead of the authorities, making it incredibly difficult to dismantle their operations. The cartel's reach isn't limited to Europe. They've established partnerships with criminal groups worldwide, including Israeli, Dutch, Dominican, and Chinese gangs. These alliances allow the cartel to access new markets and expand their operations. However, they've carefully avoided the US market, likely due to the dominance of Mexican cartels and strict anti-drug policies. Despite law enforcement's best efforts, the cartel continues to supply Europe with cocaine. The most recent data shows that cocaine seizures in Europe have reached record levels, with over 315 tons seized in 2021 alone. In Belgium's Antwerp port, Europe's main cocaine transit hub, authorities seized 116 tons last year. These staggering figures show the scale of the problem and the difficulty in curbing the Balkan cartel's influence. The story of Slobodan Kostovsky and the rise of the Balkan cartel is more than just a tale of crime. It's a clear reminder of how globalized crime has become. From the Balkans to Latin America, these traffickers have created a network that's incredibly hard to dismantle. Despite law enforcement's best efforts, the cocaine trade continues to thrive. So what's next in this battle against the cartel? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. The fight is far from over. The story of Kostovsky and the Balkan cartel is a testament to the globalization of criminal networks and the challenges that law enforcement faces in the 21st century. The cartel's ability to operate across borders, evade capture, and continue their operations despite setbacks is a testament to their resilience and resourcefulness. As long as there is demand for cocaine in Europe, the cartel will find a way to supply it. The battle against the Balkan cartel is far from over, and it will require international cooperation, innovative strategies, and relentless determination to bring these criminals to justice. Thanks for watching. If you found this story interesting, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next true crime content. Until next time, stay safe.